اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.
The Prophet ﷺ is saying, teach your children 3 things. Now tell me something. Before you can teach something, what's the rule? You have to learn it yourself. That's rule number 1. That's from the Jawami' al-Kalim of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ had immense brevity in his speech with immense meaning. He was an ocean ﷺ. But he was able to put it in a cup for people. The Prophet ﷺ says, "Allimu awladakum thalatha khizal." Teach your children 3 things, meaning learn it first yourself. And learning it in Islam doesn't mean memorizing quotes. It's not information. It's not downloads like Mawlana Sajjad told us, Hafidhahullah. It means practice it, live by it. That's what knowledge is in Islam. The point I was making, teach your children 3 things. Look at the first word the Prophet ﷺ uses for teaching, hubb, love. First word he says, hubba nabiyyikum. Teach your children 3 things. What's the first thing? Now when we want to teach our children about Islam, what's the first thing that we start with? Beating. Alif, ba, ta, tha. Read it. Even if you don't understand it, still read it. And if you can't read it, I'll hit you until you read it. Yeah? And if you can't read it, if it takes half an hour, you can't read it, I'm going to make you sit for an hour, 2 hours until you can read it. I don't care whatever happens. You need to finish the Quran before our cousins do. Before our neighbors do. Yeah? Is that the curriculum of the Prophet ﷺ? No. Because love is the cure of every illness. If you have the love of the Prophet ﷺ, no disease or cancer like the likes of ISIS or Daesh or Dawla or whatever they're called will be able to afflict the hearts of your brothers and sisters, of your children. It won't be able to enter into your house. Because the love of the Prophet ﷺ will immediately tell you, this is not the way of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. His way was beautiful. His way was peaceful ﷺ. Even his war was peace. Even his war was peace ﷺ. It was a last resort. He didn't want to ﷺ. But he only went into war if he knew that this war will bring about greater peace. That's the Prophet ﷺ. The first thing is what? Love of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Now the way we can teach love to our children, because it's easy to mention this as an abstract point, you need to teach love. Yeah. Take note that whatever you love, your children will love. If you love Real Madrid, your children will love Real Madrid. And if you love Barcelona, your children will love Barcelona. And if you love Man United, a'udhu billah, your children will love Man United, a'udhu billah. Yeah? The list continues. If you cut your hair like Messi, or you praise Ronaldo's haircut, your children are going to cut their hair like Ronaldo. Why? Because they want your praise, they want your attention. When they see you glued to the television praising and giving attention to pop stars and film stars and music stars, you know what your child thinks? I want to be like him or her. Because if I'm like him or her, then maybe my parents will give me the attention they give to them. Maybe then my parents will praise me as well. Maybe then my dad will spend 5 minutes with me reading to me, or spending time with me, playing with me, or praising me, or loving me, or showing me some affection. They say by 2020, depression will be the biggest killer of men. By 2020. Why? Because our children are growing up in an emotionless world. They're being brought up, their parents are who? iPhone, iPads, Android. Those are the new parents. Our children are screaming out for attention. I work in a Muslim primary school. 100% of the children are Muslims. And I know at primary level, and it breaks my heart to see what kind of situations our Muslim children are in. If we just took care of our houses. Just take care of your house. Forget everything else. The final 2 points that the Prophet ﷺ mentions, teach your children 3 things. What was the first thing? Love of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Look what he says, love. He didn't just say seerah. He didn't just say feed them information about my life. He said the love of the Prophet ﷺ. Singing nasheeds, reading poetry, showing that you love the Prophet ﷺ will teach love to your children of the Prophet ﷺ. Otherwise you can fill your house with as many books of seerah as you wish. If you don't love the Prophet ﷺ, you don't show love for the Prophet ﷺ, you don't show esteem for the Prophet ﷺ. When the adhan is given and the muaddin says, وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ, you don't shake, you don't move, you don't show an expression of love, you don't kiss your thumbs, or you don't place your hands on your heart, doesn't make a difference. If you show less of a reaction than when your football team scores, you show less of a reaction than when your country wins in cricket, you show less of a reaction to the name of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ than you do to some kind of sport or recreation or entertainment, then your children will not learn love. And we have to love him more than everything else. Meaning our reaction to him, our response to him has to be greater than our response and reaction to anything else. That's what we need to do. The second thing he mentions is وَحُبَّ آلِهِ, the love of the family of the Prophet ﷺ. Teach your daughters who Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu anha is. I had a lesson in Nottingham and there was probably close to 70 people in there. About half of them brothers, half of them sisters. Probably about 40 sisters in that hall. And I asked them, I said, how many of you as young children knew about the lives of Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu anha, Sayyidina Khadija radiallahu anha, Sayyidatuna Aisha radiallahu anha? How many of you? One sister put her hand up. One sister. We want our sisters to be pious, modest. We don't want them to do anything wrong. Somehow, for some reason, our sisters, there's a different code of Islam for sisters than it is for brothers. There isn't. You know, dressing immodestly for brothers is the same for sisters. Lying for brothers is the same for sisters. Having a haram relationship is the same for brothers as it is for sisters. In fact, it's worse for brothers. The Prophet ﷺ tells us in a hadith, بِرُّوا آبَاءَكُمْ تَبَرَّكُمْ أَبْنَاؤُكُمْ وَعِفُّوا تَعِفَّ نِسَاءَكُمْ. The Prophet ﷺ says, be good and be obedient to your parents, and your children will be obedient to you. And be chaste. Speaking to men, be chaste, and your women will be chaste as well. Meaning it's when men lose their morality that women follow suit afterwards. Women are much better spiritually. But when they see men indulging in sins and chaining them and telling them they can't do this and can't do that, then even women get to a point where they say forget this and they indulge in sins as well. It's when the men follow sins first that then the women do afterwards. So a man committing a crime is even worse than a woman committing it. Because when he commits it, he becomes a reason for a woman committing it as well, and it's not the other way around. So we need to teach our children the love for the family of the Prophet ﷺ. And Sayyidina Khadija, Sayyidatuna Aisha are part of the family of the Prophet ﷺ. The Ummahat al-Mu'mineen, the mothers of the believers, the wives of the Prophet ﷺ are from the family of the Prophet ﷺ. How many of our daughters know about Sayyidina Fatima radiallahu anha? How many? Likewise, how many of our sons have Sayyidina Ali and Sayyidina Imam Hassan, Sayyidina Imam Hussein radiallahu anhum ajma'een wa alayhimus salam as a role model for them? Because they were the youth around the Prophet ﷺ. You want to see how to spend your youth? Look at Sayyidina Ali karamallahu wajhul kareem. He was a youth in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Look at the likes of Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. These youth around the Prophet ﷺ. So that's the second thing, the love of the family of the Prophet ﷺ. Third thing, وَتِلَاوَةَ الْقُرْآنِ, the recitation of the Qur'an. And when they meant recitation, how did the Sahaba recite the Qur'an? They used to recite it ayah by ayah, some narrations 5 ayahs at a time. They used to understand it, implement it, then move on. That was their reciting of the Qur'an. See the difference? When they used to finish the Qur'an, they used to have a party. That was their reason for having a party. You know, people say bid'ah. The Sahaba al-Kiram, when they finished the Qur'an, they used to slaughter an animal, they used to have a feast. They used to celebrate it. That's what they considered worthy of celebration. The Prophet ﷺ gives glad tidings. He says, فَإِنَّ حَمَلَةَ الْقُرْآنِ عَلَى مَنَابِرِ مِن نُورِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. The one who carries the Qur'an will be on a minaret of light on the Day of Judgment. Minaret of light. You know, we see, you know, the shad, you see, what is it called, the gherkin, you see the Burj Dubai, and people wish, wow, I wish I had one of those. Yeah? If you want better than that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the tongue of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given glad tidings. If you carry the Quran in your actions, in your words, in your behavior, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you a minaret of light on the Day of Judgment. Forget all of these minarets, forget all of these towers, forget all of these.